This is Bert Vizon, the co-chair of the Education Committee for RISE. Today is my great pleasure to interview Maria Comparan with GMGS in the continuation of our Day in the Life series of various insurance professionals throughout the industry. Maria, welcome to the call and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bert. It's a pleasure to be interviewing and speaking with you and the RISE participants.
Absolutely. So we've worked together for a while, so we'll keep this as casual as possible. But when we're talking about the various different roles in the insurance industry, we've decided here at RISE to do this series on the various different departments. What is your role currently in the insurance industry?
My technical role is called Property and Casualty Claims Specialist, but to my clients, I'm called a claims coach or a claims advocate. And my role is really to support and assist any client on that day where they have a business claim that affects their business operations or has damaged somebody else's operations. And that varies from a simple auto claim to a litigation suit to a cyber attack and to an employment practices violation allegation. It's all over the place.
Okay. And is that specifically in claims? Is it in an insurance and company environment? How would you characterize what GMGS is?
My role currently at GMGS Risk Management Insurance Services is as a claims advocate. My role is to specifically work with commercial and property claims. So I'm dealing with any commercial business and represent all our clients with any commercial claim. I don't handle personal claims whatsoever, no homeowners, no auto claims, but I do handle commercial auto claims. So it is very much a commercial business world of claims I live and work in every day.
Very nice. And GMGS itself is a broker, correct, in the industry?
Correct. We are currently focusing on middle market to small businesses, and we broker and work with a lot of carriers, your typical ones, the large ones, Travelers, Allstate, and you have CNA, Hartford, all your typical commercial carriers right now. And our role is to buy insurance for the business client and obtain insurance quotes from the insurance carriers and manage their claims. And that's where my role fits in.
Awesome. So if someone were to come into the industry brand new or transition from a current role in the industry to a role like yours, what would you characterize your day-to-day to look like? A day in the life of Maria Comparan. What would that look like?
A day in a life in a claims advocate or coach role varies daily. It's really becoming a firefighter and an investigator, and you're there to support whatever is happening. On most non-adventurous days, I have a very quiet day where administratively I'm on the phone, I have video meetings, I have physical meetings, and I have a lot of collaboration conversations with different stakeholders. And those stakeholders vary from my direct clients, my internal team members, as well as our carrier partners and their team members, the adjusters. It varies all day long, but the focus is on communication, discussion, and creating a resolution or moving things towards a resolution all around a claim scenario. That is a typical day in life.
All right. So what would you say are the hard skills and the soft skills that someone can do yourself?
Definitely the hard skills is communication. I believe that you have to listen twice as much as you speak. That's very important. People think communicating is just speaking. It's not. It's actually listening. And that is the toughest thing to do for an average human being. Because of my role, I'm the first person that our client or team member goes to when they have a crisis or a claim. So I have to be very concerted to use my communication skills, and those include listening skills. I have to quiet myself and make sure I listen everything. Facts, make sure I am technically writing things down, because what you hear when you write are two different things. And in terms of the soft skills, you have to have empathy. You have to be emotionally connected to
But your role does extend past the resolution of that claim because you then look at the safety aspects and those things for the insured as well, right?
Correct. After the claim is over, we usually have a retro or review session with the client. Says, how can we prevent this from happening again? What can you be training your employees or the field in general about how to prevent this from happening again, or how to mitigate that? What can we implement in terms of safety measures, in terms of protocols, in terms of forms to complete? And it varies a whole gambit. It just depends on the specific matter that's involved. And it can be as simple as an auto accident where please remind your employee to take a picture of the damage of the vehicle, to
Right.
let's make sure that we revisit all the fire and safety issues of this particular scenario in depth in a formal training with all employees once a quarter, once a month. It could vary, but it involves the entire spectrum as well.
Okay. How does someone prepare to do a role like you do, or how did you prepare yourself to do this role?
That's a great question. I don't know if anyone really prepares to be in a role like mine. I think you know people in the industry that have qualities that make you successful in a role like this. And I believe that my career goal in learning insurance generally overall, I've underwritten a lot of lines of business. So I'm a little jack of no trades, master of none, but I've underwritten lots of lines of business in order to understand exposures, in order to understand the liability that different clients have from professional to physical exposures. So luckily, education is part of becoming successful in this role, but also listening and learning along the way from others, absorbing scenarios and understanding how other processes fit into the process. It's like building a puzzle. You learn something, you build on that, you grow. And in order to be successful or take a role like this, you need to have good technical background on insurance exposures. And you also need to have exposure to a lot of scenarios. So my 27 years of being in this industry have given me plenty of scenarios as an underwriter, as a claims service manager, working with very high exposure clients in construction, to basically your cookie maker down the street. So every role can prepare you for this if you just listen and learn and walk away with some education.
I think there's one soft skill that we didn't talk about that I just wanted you to give me your thoughts on. What about, I call it a soft skill, a sense of urgency, because that's a skill that is needed for anything that you ever do, but it's a soft skill that we don't generally talk about. What are your thoughts on that?
A sense of urgency to me translates to time management. I think in my claims role as an advocate, as a coach, and as a person who's stewarding a claim towards resolution, you're always on the clock. From the first minute you walk into your office or you start working for the day in front of your laptop or that phone call, you're always on the clock. So I've, fortunately for my clients and my firm, I'm a 24/7-hour accessible employee. So a client can call me anytime. And the reason they're calling me is because something has happened. So they understand my availability will address their urgency. And I also know that time management or urgency requires prompt response, meaning you have to get on the phone right away and get a resolution, find an adjuster, get an appraisal, get someone there, contact OSHA, call 911, call the police department, call the fire department, call a remediation company. Sometimes you have to take the task into your own hands because our client may be en route to the accident or may be out of town. So a lot of the urgency is inherited in the role, but understand that as an individual, if you don't have a sense of urgency, may not be the role for you. I understand insurance well enough in my life now that it's the worst day a client is having. So there's always a high level of urgency.
Got it. Okay. So what would you say is your rose and your thorn, the good and the bad of what you do?
I think my rose is clients who really appreciate the existence of this role, and there's someone there to help them. I think in human nature, it's nice to have a lawyer. It's nice to have a plumber. It's nice to have an electrician when you have someone. For a business owner, it's great to have a claims advocate or a claims coach to go to and say, what do I do with this? I don't know, Maria. And so that's when you start having a conversation. What happened? Let's talk about this. And let's talk about what we can move towards a mitigation and then a resolution. So I think in essence, you know, the role that I serve can really help out a lot of clients because they have someone. So those clients who really appreciate my role and what it brings to them, an extension of their business and their risk management and their insurance portfolio, that is my rose, because I feel appreciated. I love that I can make a difference in their day, and I appreciate that they know I exist and they can come to me for little things or the large ugly things. Now my thorn is the clients who have repetitive behaviors that they could prevent from trending. And the challenge with those thorn clients or thorn scenarios is that you have to have consistency in education. You have to repeat the education process. You have to repeat training process. And it might take months to years with some clients because of transition in their staffing, because of they didn't get it the first time. But eventually you get that thorn reduced down to be part of a nice flush flower stem. And again, that's all with consistency of education and communication with that client.
Yeah, that's a good thorn. And I don't think that thorn necessarily is unique necessarily to your role. I think that translates to everything that we do, the
Absolutely.
repetitive nature where we seem to do the improper, I'm not going to say incorrect, but the improper thing over and over again without learning from that lesson to begin with. Okay. Now, here's the $100,000 question. What would you say is the most common misconception of what your role and what a broker's role in this industry are?
I think a lot of business clients confuse a broker to having authority of an insurance company. I think a lot of clients assume that we have that direct leverage with an insurance company. They forget we are the middle person, and the misconception is that we have authority. We have decision-making powers. I call our powers persuasive and communication powers. I love to have a conversation with all my adjusters and really lay out the facts. This is what we see. This is what the client sees. Do you see our view, our perspective? And if not, why not? And let's understand what everybody's perspective is. And if there's misunderstanding or miscommunication, then we'll all get on the same page and come to a prompt resolution. But I think the major misconception is clients think we have authority and decision-making abilities of our insurance carriers. We can make the claim, go away, pay it and go away. That is not the fact. There's a process and there is communication and facts to be gathered and analyzed and resolved.
Great. All right. Sounds great. Maria, excuse me, Maria, thank you so much again for taking the time out to join us and to help us in our Day in the Life series of various insurance professionals. Once again, I'm Bert Bizon with Rise, and we have Maria Comparan with GMGS. Again, thank you, Maria, and have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you.